Now, Chapter 8, State Administration. Government and its organs. The way a state is run depends on its government and the different parts of that government, called organs. Just like how a school needs teachers, principals, and staff to work smoothly, a state needs its government to make decisions, enforce rules, and ensure fairness for everyone. In this chapter, we'll explore the different types of governments and the key roles they play in running a country. What is a government? A government is the system that leads a country. It creates laws, protects its people, and ensures that everyone follows the rules. Think of the government like the captain of a ship. It steers the country in the right direction. Governments can be organized in different ways depending on the country's history, culture, and beliefs. Types of governments. Governments are like different types of games. Each has its own rules. Let's look at the main kinds of governments. 1. Democratic government. In a democracy, people have the power. They vote for their leaders in elections, and those leaders make decisions on their behalf. Example, the United States and India have democratic governments. 2. Non-democratic government. In this system, people do not have much say in choosing their leaders. The government might be controlled by one person or a small group. Example, North Korea is a non-democratic state. Number 3, monarchy. A monarchy is led by a king or queen. Power is often hereditary, meaning it is passed down through family. Example, the United Kingdom has a constitutional monarchy where the Queen's powers are mostly symbolic. Number 4, dictatorial government. Here, one leader or a small group has all the power. They do not allow elections or other opinions to challenge them. Example, Adolf Hitler's rule in Germany during the 1930s was a dictatorship. Forms of government. Based on power sharing. Governments can also be classified based on how power is shared across the country. 1. Unitary government. In a unitary system, all the power is concentrated in one central government. Local regions follow the central rules without much independence. Example, France has a unitary system. 2. Federal government. In a federal system, power is shared between the central government and smaller local governments, like states or provinces. Both levels have their own responsibilities. Example, the United States is a federal country where states have their own laws alongside federal laws. How governments function, parliamentary versus presidential systems. Governments also differ based on how their leaders are chosen and how they work. 1. Parliamentary system. In this system, the people elect members of parliament, like a big group of representatives. These members then choose the head of government, such as a prime minister. Example, the United Kingdom uses the parliamentary system. 2. Presidential system. In this system, the people directly vote for their president, who acts as both the head of state, leader of the country, and the head of government, leader of decision-making. Example, the United States follows a presidential system. Every government has 3 main parts, or organs, each with a unique job. 1. Legislative, parliament. This part creates laws and decides how money is spent for the country. Example, in India, the parliament includes the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, which debate and make laws. 2. Executive, administrative. This part enforces the laws. It includes the president, prime minister, and government officials. Think of them as the action team. Example, in the US, the president leads the executive branch. 3. Judiciary, judicial. This part ensures laws are followed and resolves disputes. Judges and courts work here to make sure everything is fair. The Supreme Court of the United States interprets laws and protects citizens' rights. How power is transferred. Power in governments can be transferred in different ways. 1. Hereditary transfer. Power is passed down through family, often in monarchies. Example, in Saudi Arabia, kingship is hereditary. 2. Election. In democratic systems, people vote to choose their leaders. Example, every 4 years, the United States holds elections to choose a new president. 3. Constitutional power. In constitutional governments, the transfer of power follows clear rules written in the country's constitution. Example, in India, the constitution guides how elections and government transitions happen. Edward Buchring's contribution, 1965. Edward Buchring studied different types of governments and explained how their structures affect the lives of citizens. He showed how democracy and non-democracy differ, and how parliamentary and presidential systems have unique strengths and challenges. Conclusion. Governments are like teams, each with players, organs, who have different jobs to do. Whether it's a democracy where people vote, a monarchy led by a royal family, or a federal government that shares power between regions, every type of government tries to make life better for its citizens. By understanding these systems, we can appreciate how decisions are made and how countries are managed. Here is a structured explanation of the questions, combining insights from Chapter 8, State Administration, with the specific details of governance and its systems. We'll go through the short questions first, then provide clear answers for essay questions in an organized way. B section, short questions. 2. What do you mean by government and state system? The government is the system of people, laws, and institutions that make and enforce rules within a state. The state system refers to how power is organized and managed within a country. It includes various forms like democracy, dictatorship, monarchy, federal, and unitary systems. In the United States, a federal system, power is shared between the central government and state governments. 3. What is democracy? Democracy is a system of government where power rests with the people. Citizens vote to elect their representatives who govern on their behalf. It emphasizes rights like freedom of speech, equality, and rule of law. Example: countries like India and the United Kingdom practice democracy. 4. What do you mean by dictatorship? A dictatorship is a system of government where all power is concentrated in one person or a small group. Citizens have little or no role in decision-making, and the government often suppresses dissent. Example: Nazi Germany under Adolf Hitler was a dictatorship. 5. Define unicameral and bicameral legislature. Unicameral legislature, a legislature with one house or chamber that makes laws. Example: Bangladesh's parliament, Dia Sangsad. Bicameral legislature, a legislature with two houses or chambers that share lawmaking responsibilities. Example: the United States Congress, House of Representatives and Senate. 6. What is the organization of the judiciary and the selection process of judges? The judiciary interprets laws and ensures justice. It is typically organized into 3 levels. 1. Lower courts, handle local disputes and minor cases. 2. Appellate courts, review decisions from lower courts. 3. Supreme Court, the highest court resolving major constitutional issues. Judge selection process. Judges are selected through various methods, like appointment by the executive branch, election by citizens, or nomination followed by confirmation, e.g., in the U.S. 7. What is local government? Local government is the lowest level of government, managing smaller regions like towns, cities, or villages. It deals with community needs like public services, roads, and schools. Example: union parishads and municipalities in Bangladesh. 8. What do you mean by local governance? Local governance refers to how decisions are made and implemented at the local level. It includes partnerships between local governments, citizens, and organizations to ensure the community's development. Section C, essay questions. 9. What do you mean by government and state system? Discuss the state system of government. The government is the system that manages a country's laws, administration, and policies. It operates within the framework of a state, which includes its territory, population, and sovereignty. State systems are organized in different forms based on how power is distributed. Democracy, power rests with the people, e.g., the US, India. Dictatorship, power is concentrated in one leader or a small group, e.g., North Korea. Monarchy, leadership is inherited, as in Saudi Arabia. Federal systems, power is shared between central and regional governments, e.g., US, Germany. Unitary systems, power is centralized in one government, e.g., France. Governments evolve based on historical, cultural, and political needs, balancing efficiency and representation. 10. What is the government? Briefly discuss the types of state government. A government creates and enforces rules to ensure order and protect citizens. Governments can be categorized based on structure and decision-making. 1. Democratic government. Citizens elect representatives to make decisions, e.g. parliamentary or presidential democracies. 2. Non-democratic government. Power is held by a single leader or elite group, e.g. dictatorship, monarchy. 3. Unitary government. Centralized power with uniform policies across the nation. 4. Federal government. Shared power between national and regional governments. 5. Parliamentary system. The executive branch is drawn from the legislature, e.g. the UK. 6. Presidential system. The president is elected independently of the legislature, e.g. the US. 11. What do you mean by democratic and undemocratic government? Describe these two forms of government. 1. Democratic government. Power belongs to the people through voting and free elections. Example: India's system of government reflects democracy with its universal voting rights. 2. Undemocratic government. Power is concentrated in one person or a small group, often restricting freedoms. Example: dictatorships like North Korea do not allow public elections. 12. What is the government? Describe parliamentary and presidential systems of government. The government is an institution responsible for making and enforcing laws. It exists in various forms. 1. Parliamentary system. The head of government, Prime Minister, is part of the legislature and is chosen by its members. Example: the UK system where the Prime Minister leads the government. 2. Presidential system. The president is elected directly by the people and operates independently of the legislature. Example: the US president has separate executive powers. 13. Describe central and federal government. Central government. Power is concentrated in one governing body that makes decisions for the entire nation. Example: France follows a unitary model where policies are uniform. Federal government. Power is divided between national and local governments, each with its own responsibilities. Example: the U.S. Constitution grants powers to both the federal government and individual states. 14. Mention the types of state governments and describe the federal system of government. State governments can be classified into 1. Unitary governments, centralized power. 2. Federal governments, decentralized power. In the federal system, power is divided between a central authority and regional governments. Each level has autonomy in specific areas. Example: the U.S. federal system allows states to manage their education systems independently of the federal government. Would you like to focus on the judiciary, local governance, or more essay questions? (15) What are the departments of state government? Describe the legislative and administrative departments. State governments typically have three main departments. 1. Legislative department. This body creates laws for the state. It may be unicameral, one house, or bicameral, two houses, like state legislatures in India and the USA. 2. Administrative department. Led by the executive branch, this department implements the laws and oversees public services like police, health, and education. 3. Judicial department. Ensures laws are upheld and provides justice. 16. What do you mean by law department and governance department? Describe the functions of legislative council and administrative department. Law department focuses on drafting, interpreting, and enforcing laws. It ensures that all government actions comply with legal standards. Governance department manages the overall administration of the state, including policy implementation and coordination between departments. Functions of legislative council: debates and approves laws, represents the people's will. Functions of administrative department: executes laws, and ensures smooth functioning of public services. Discuss the process of acquisition and transfer of state power in state governance. Acquisition of power. State power can be acquired through elections, democratic process, hereditary succession, monarchy, or force, coup or revolution. Transfer of power. This can occur through elections, appointments, or constitutional provisions. For example, in democracies, a new government assumes power after elections. In monarchies, power transfers to the next in line. 18. Discuss the process of assumption and transfer of power by the head of state. The head of state, e.g., a president or monarch, assumes power based on the country's political system. In democracies, the head of state is often elected, e.g., U.S. presidential elections. In monarchies, power transfers through heredity. The transfer process includes an official ceremony, such as the swearing-in of a president, ensuring continuity of governance. 19. Describe the exercise and control mechanisms of state power. State power is exercised through 1. Legislation, making and enforcing laws. 2. Execution, administering policies and governance. 3. Judiciary, ensuring justice and resolving conflicts. Control mechanisms include checks and balances between branches of government, oversight by media and civil society, elections to hold leaders accountable. 20. What does the judiciary mean? Discuss the functions of the judiciary is the branch of government responsible for interpreting and upholding the law. Functions of the judiciary: 1. Resolving disputes between individuals or institutions. 2. Ensuring laws comply with the Constitution. 3. Protecting individual rights. 4. Reviewing government actions for legality. 21. Mention the structural parts of the state government system and discuss the process of formation of judiciary. The structural parts of state government include 1. Legislative, lawmaking body. 2. Executive, implements and enforces laws. 3. Judiciary, ensures justice. Formation of judiciary. Judiciaries are formed through appointments by the executive, elections, or a nomination and confirmation process, depending on the system. Judges are selected based on qualifications and experience. 22. Discuss the administrative structure of the government of Bangladesh. The administrative structure of Bangladesh includes 1. Central government, headed by the Prime Minister and the Cabinet, responsible for national policy and decision-making. 2. Local government, includes union parishads, municipalities, and city corporations that handle regional issues. 3. Judiciary, operates independently to ensure justice. 23. What does local government mean? Discuss the types of local government in Bangladesh. Local government refers to the governing bodies responsible for administering smaller regions within a country, like towns and villages. Types in Bangladesh. 1. Union parishads, the lowest administrative unit for rural areas. 2. Municipalities, govern urban areas. 3. City corporations, oversee large cities like Dhaka. 24. What is local governance and local autonomy governance? Discuss their differences. Local governance involves decision-making and service delivery by local authorities, often in collaboration with citizens. Local autonomy governance focuses on granting full independence to local governments to make decisions without interference from the central government. Difference: local governance emphasizes cooperation, while local autonomy stresses complete self-rule. 25. What is the local authority regime? Mention the local self-governing institutions in Bangladesh and describe the structure and source of income of Union Parishad. The local authority regime consists of decentralized government bodies managing local affairs. Local self-governing institutions in Bangladesh: Union Parishads, municipalities, city corporations. Union Parishad's structure, composed of elected chairpersons and members, works in committees to address community needs. Sources of income: 1. Local taxes. 2. Grants from the central government. 3. Fees for services, e.g. permits. Attach 26. Discuss the structure and functions of Union Parishad of Bangladesh. Structure, headed by a chairman, includes general members and reserved seats for women, operates through committees for development and welfare. Functions: 1. Maintaining law and order. 2. Promoting education and healthcare. 3. Overseeing local infrastructure projects. 27. Discuss the structure and functions of municipalities in Bangladesh. Structure, governed by a mayor and councillors elected by citizens. Divided into wards for better representation. Functions: 1. Providing urban services like waste management and water supply. 2. Regulating markets and businesses. 3. Building and maintaining roads and public spaces.